All right, we're gonna perform Emojin Heap's Headlock.
Is it too late to see it? Don't find on the headlight. I know you are better than that. Is it too late to stop at the top of my headlight? I know you're better than that.
Welcome back to another episode of Next Stop Newearth.
Hello, where are we right now?
We are not in Korea. Sorry for the misinformation that we have spread. We are in Thailand.
We're in Bangkok.
We are in Bangkok. I'm out here. No, I'm not. I have green hair to match hers. A lot has gone on. We actually haven't filmed the podcast episode in, I don't know. It's been like
We're
2 months. We're sorry. We're sorry we neglected you guys. That was an accident.
Why did that happen? Why did we not film like we said we would in Korea? What happened in Korea?
In Korea, there was too many things going on.
Korea's just like that, man. Especially Seoul.
Especially Seoul. It was just filled with nightlife, filled with friends. We saw
Filled with nightlife. I feel like it wasn't even filled with like crazy nightlife. It was more just people.
Yeah, it was probably like it was the people and the friends. Like there was way too many people that we just ended up seeing.
We did not think that we were gonna be socializing like that, but the universe had other plans.
Universe had other plans to show us how easily we could be thrown off track.
Well, we were socializing, but we filmed the Dopamine Girls music video.
All right.
And
congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. And we had some awesome sessions where we made some dope ass songs. So it wasn't all just having fun. It was just a lot of other things involving people, and yeah,
a lot of things going on. And I think at that time is when we started putting out Next Stop Newearth stuff, right? While we were in Korea.
Is that the first time we did that?
Yeah, because we finished filming while we were in Bali.
Oh, we bumped into one of your friends who was like, I just saw your first episode. I thought you were in Bali.
Yeah. And then so we were learning how to systemize and put this podcast out, but we're here. And we're starting a schedule. And we're going to try to stick to that.
Yes. I will say, I feel like even when we were going to Korea from Bali, I did ask us, right? I was like, are we ready for Korea? Because Bali has been so zen, and
so nice.
We were so in our own world and evolving and very focused on the spiritual aspect of who we are. And yeah, I think Korea was like a good lesson of just like, okay, how do we go back to society and integrate it without getting lost in it?
Yeah, I kind of underestimated how distracting Korea would be, because there's just so much stuff. It's so like everyone's doing something, and there's always something to buy.
There's always something to eat, always something to drink.
Always something to do. But anyways, with that being said, we have a very important topic that we wanted to talk about for this week. And it's another one of those like baseline concepts that I think we're always going to be referring to. And so if you don't understand, here's the episode so you can get with the program. Today we're talking about the idea of there is no should. What does that mean?
There's no should.
There is no should. What are these two people talking about? There is no should. I feel like in life there are a lot of shoulds that we hold, a lot of beliefs about how life should be, and one of the base concepts that she and I have come to that kind of formulate a lot of our ideas of how we should live life should is the idea that there is no should. And so I'd like to pass this on to you and ask you, what is no should? What does there is no should mean to you? And how did you come to that conclusion?
I would say it all started from, again, that infamous closet moment that I had when I was on a psychedelic trip. And I was just getting so many downloads left and right, just like, I can't even say every second because it wasn't
Right.
even every second. It was like every millisecond.
It was like a stream of downloads. By the way,
everywhere.
for the people who don't know what a download is, what is a download to you?
Download is when you receive a message that feels very significant or important to you, but it's from the ether, from the source, from like something that's outside of like just your thoughts. It feels like you're just like hearing it, you're literally receiving it.
Sometimes it comes to me like as like a feeling.
Yeah.
And I think an important thing about a download is once it's received from the ether, from source, it passes through me, and like it has to be translated like into human like knowledge, so that I could understand it. But once I understand it and I receive it as a feeling, in that moment of time, that information becomes an absolute like knowing.
Yes. And it's like, I mean, I think the more you tune into your intuition, the easier it is to decipher, is this a download or am I just overthinking, or is this like another random thought I'm having? So yeah, when you get it, or like when you receive it, you'll know intuitively.
Yeah.
So when I was in the closet, I just kept going back to, I just kept getting the download of there's no should. And at first I didn't even know what the fuck that meant. I was just like, okay, why do I keep getting this? And I got it, and I just like, I wasn't even focused on it. I would like try to think of other things, or just like be open to whatever else I would receive. And everything else that I was thinking about, whether that was like some problems I was facing in my life at the moment, or just questions I had about life and universe in general, it all kept going back to there's no should as the answer. So now looking back, I realize how, yes, I want to talk about it so much to other people because it applies to everyone.
Right.
But I think that is like, there are a lot of lessons about the universe and about life, but I think there's no should is almost in these, it's like a mantra to me that I personally want to keep going back to and remembering, because of how much I sometimes find myself pressuring myself to stick to what I think I should do in order to achieve something, or to be a certain way, or whatever the fuck, right? So what does there's no should mean to me? Do you want like a clear definition, or like do you have a clear definition? Because I feel like it's easier for me to think about examples.
About examples here. How
Yeah.
about this? Before we get into examples, I would like to talk about how I came to the conclusion, because I feel like for some people that's like too mystical. That's like what do you mean you gotta download from the ether, like right? And it was this. So on that trip, so I'm with her, and we're both kind of like separated. She's like stuck in her closet, and I'm like pacing back and forth, and I have an absolute ego death, and it is the realization that I am going to die, that everything is going to die, everything is impermanent, and when you zoom out beyond the scope of time, it was the realization of nothing here matters, right? And I feel like that's become such, it used to be more of a, I would say like taboo subject, you know, death. But I feel like especially with philosophy nowadays and people talking about nihilism and all that shit, it's definitely become a lot more mainstream. But at the time, because death wasn't something that I talked about or thought about, it was very taboo for me. And so to not only explore the fact that not only to explore my impermanence, but to accept it, I was able to understand that, wow, nothing here really has meaning. And that also means, right, if nothing has inherent meaning, has inherent quality, or yeah, it has inherent meaning in life, inherent value, one of those things that doesn't really have value is your beliefs. The belief systems that you hold and what you think is important, what you think is a way of life and how things should be lived, isn't really as important in the grand scheme of it all. And that is eventually how I led to the idea of there is no should. Your belief systems, the things that you think are important, aren't really that important at all.
Okay, I think we should clarify that because
Yes.
for us, when we say life is inherently meaningless, that's not like a because I feel like we've delved into the subject so much. For us, that's not like a sad thing,
Right.
But for people listening, if they're just listening to you say like, oh, your belief systems like are not that important, or your like life doesn't really matter, I feel like that could just be like, well, fuck me then, type of
You got fucked,
interpretation. So let's clarify that a little bit.
So I think one thing that I do want to add on to that is the fact that nothing matters is definitely a beautiful thing.
It's a gift.
It is a gift because at that point now you can make things matter. You can choose what matter. You can choose what's important to you, and you don't have to uphold the belief systems that were programmed into you.
Yes. And a movie that we both love so much that really gets deep into the subject is...
Let's say it on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Everything, everywhere, all at
is it
once. What the
everything?
fuck?
Oh, shit, sorry, is it everything, everywhere? Everywhere, everything? Oh, man.
You said everywhere, everywhere. What the heck?
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Ew.
Yow.
Ew.
Yeah.
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Everything, everywhere, all at once. Everything, everywhere, all at once.
We're probably racist.
What the fuck?
Maybe just me.
Yeah. So that movie, we freaking love that movie so
Yeah.
much. We watched it like, I mean, at least I watched it 3 times. I think you watched it once.
I think I watched it twice. I
Okay.
watched it.
Oh, yeah. I
watched
put
it-
you on.
You put me on, and I think I watched it again on the plane.
Okay. Yeah. I feel like every time we rewatch it, there's like something new that happens there. If you haven't watched it, please watch that. It's
so
so
good.
beautiful. But basically, what the movie also talks about, which is what we just talked about, is the fact that when nothing matters, you can take that as something that is sad and like, wow, well, nothing matters, so I might as well just like chase fun and be nihilistic as fuck and all that stuff. Or you could choose to create your own meaning, and whatever you choose, it doesn't matter what it is, as long as you find beauty and meaning in it. That's what matters, and that's what's that's what's important to you. And so going back to there's no should, continue.
Oh, what is it you wanted me to continue with?
Oh, I thought that's okay. So you had that realization that if nothing matters in life, then there's no should. So you choose what you prefer to believe, or how you want to live.
Yeah, you choose how you want to live.
Yes.
Because everything that you think is important, like, isn't really important. I think that there is one thing that I did want to address. There will be people who are like, all right, well, if nothing matters, then why don't I just like sit on my ass all day, or why don't I just end it here, or something like that. First off, don't do that. Secondly, I actually wrote something on this because I knew that this was something that I wanted to share with people. In 2023, I started writing a book. Didn't finish it. Completely forgot about it and neglected it. But there is something here that I have that I did want to read, which was titled, "Why Are People Unhappy?" I wrote this...
Philosopher Richie.
I wrote this February 4th, 2023, which I think was probably like 2 days after the realization, like while
Probably,
it was still
yeah.
fresh. And so this is what I'd written. As humans, we've been given a set of boundaries, expectations of what we are to be. However, what one must understand is that life and existence itself is non-linear. Most imagine life to be a stream, a river of some sorts in which their life must go in one direction, forever being taken by a current. One must see that life is fluid, a gray area, or like a pool. Any place can be discovered at any moment. You can go anywhere, and most importantly, you decide where to go. Hell, even salmon swim upstream. So, we often impose an idea of right and wrong and what one should do in life. I should get out of bed, I should work out, I should get off my phone. This behavior may serve detrimental for the human experience. Rather, ask yourself, what do I want to do? However, this is not a question to be looked over so quickly. Innately, as humans, as far as I know, we wish to 1, feel good, and 2, feel good together. So, we do things, and the things that we do serve as a form of communication. By doing things, we allow ourselves to experience new feelings, typically aiming for the better. Furthermore, everything that we do is a form of communication, from skills as obvious as learning languages and dancing, to indirect skills like fitness and martial arts. It is all signaling something about you that you wish to express to the world. I need a burp.
What else is new?
So when you ask yourself, what do I want to do? You are therefore asking yourself, how do I wish to feel and what do I want to communicate? No longer will one naturally wish to answer what do I want to do with such hedonistic pleasures, as although this may feel good, this is not what one would typically wish to communicate of themselves. True quote-unquote good feelings derive from accomplishment, and accomplishment derives from overcoming struggle. So that's my thing, because I feel like I've dealt with that, or I've had that thought in my head where it's like, yo, if there is no should, then why don't I just do absolutely nothing? And for me, the main argument against it was that yes, nothing matters, but just the way how society is set up, and us as humans, like, we're social creatures, we need each other, and so to neglect your perception, not to say that perception is important, because again, there is no should. You don't even have to uphold that. But to neglect perception, you end up neglecting a fundamental part of the human experience.
And we were talking about this earlier, and I kind of challenged that notion, and you clarified, because I said that whatever you choose to do and whatever you think would make you feel good needs to come from within, right? And that I was like, well, doesn't this mean that you are now then choosing what to do based on what you think will get you external validation? And what did you say to that?
I was saying it's more so not about like how do you wish to be perceived, but what do you want to communicate of yourself? And I think that small little switch of the framework makes it an internal thing of just like, okay, like what do I want to communicate of me, instead of like how do I want to be seen? Because that again, like you said, I agree too that it shouldn't be an external validation thing. But as long as it's authentic and it's true, you know, whatever you do wish to communicate of yourself, like, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Just the biggest trap is most people end up pandering to how they think they should be perceived, or how they think they should feel, or things that they should do. But in all, this is all just one big way of saying you have ultimate control.
Right. And another thing that I said too about, if there's no should and I can do whatever I want, then I would just want to be in bed all day. Like, is that okay? And to that, what I say is, if you can do that and not feel ashamed or guilty because you think that you should be doing something else, or if you're not going to feel any of those things and feel completely content to be doing that for however long you want to do, then sure, go for it, right? But I do believe that it is in all of our human nature to continue to grow and evolve. So if you keep doing that, like I don't think that I don't think that anyone would want to do that for like the rest of their life without getting bored or without wanting to do something else other than being in bed all day. But I think that also brings up a good point where because we're very ambitious people, I feel like we talk about how sometimes when we want to rest or like to not do anything for a day, it kind of makes us feel guilty a little bit. I think I had this talk with you before, right? Where when we procrastinate while feeling subconsciously like guilty about the fact that we're not doing something better, like, I should be doing this, but like I'm just gonna be here and I suck because now I'm just here not getting shit done. That is not true rest, and that is like so different from if you choose one day to be like, okay, you know what, today I really don't feel like doing anything, so I'm just gonna completely allow myself to rest and just do whatever the fuck I want, like, and not feel bad about it. That is actually productive.
Right. Whereas if you hold that idea of should, you end up like, and again, it's pandering to beliefs that aren't even important, that you didn't even choose. When you hold that idea of should, you just end up beating yourself up when you just need rest.
Right.
There is another thing that I did want to move on to, or
Okay.
did you have something you wanted to read?
I wanted to read from the journal I wrote after being in that closet.
Oh, please, yeah.
I haven't read this in a while, so let's see how it goes. But I said, the mantra of there is no should came to me, and of so many realizations I had, it always was answered by there's no should. It showed me so many random examples in my life where this applies. I should work out and I should eat well because that's what I'm supposed to do. No. I can not work out and eat whatever I want if that's what I choose to do. There's nothing quote unquote wrong with it because there's no should. Don't do it because society tells you to do. But I choose to take care of my body because I choose to be aligned with a healthy version of myself that already exists out there. There are infinite versions of me that already exist out there, and I choose to be an artist because it's my soul's calling, and it will help others to feel it will help others to help the collective consciousness. Of course, I don't have to, there's no should. I choose to align with the desired self that will fulfill my soul's purpose the most.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very beautiful.
Yeah.
Very, very beautiful. Yeah.
For me, that's so fucking powerful because I mean, now I like going to the gym, right? But when I wrote that, that's when I still like was like, I wish I was someone who just like is like a fit person and loves working out and stuff, but I wasn't at the time. And I feel like the pressure I was putting on myself to like that I should be that person was just so much that it made me dread going to the gym even more, because it's like when even like when your parents tell you that you should do something, it makes you like not want to do it even more. You know what I mean?
It's like adding like an extra level of unnecessary pressure when you are falling into alignment with those shoulds. Whereas in the moment that you're able to at least take it off and be like, you know what, like I don't have to,
right?
Like, I don't have to do any of this, but I choose to do it anyways.
Paradox.
That is when power starts to come into your life.
Yeah, you definitely feel way more empowered if you are the one who finally chose to go to the gym. Like you showed up for yourself versus if someone dragged you there.
We always have a choice. And so you were saying earlier that you wanted to, or you feel like you're better at explaining the definition of there is no should through examples. What comes through your head when you think of how else there is no should applies?
Well, so we just talked about the gym example. I guess most recently when I had to remind myself of this is when I was just thinking about how we're spending our day to day, and I was just feeling so much pressure around like, I'm not being productive enough, like I should be doing way more per day. And as an overachiever, as an Asian person, I always feel that like all the time, right? And because we're not like in school anymore and like we don't have a 9 to 5, our days are like so just free flowing, and we can choose to be in bed all day if we wanted to. And so it's just like extra, it's freeing, but it's also overwhelming as fuck. And I think that my societal conditioning of like, oh, I should be productive, I should be more productive, that was just eating me from the inside. And so I had to meditate and journal about it and really like reframe how I think about this, and really like dissect, okay, what does being productive even mean, and how I have been thinking about it, which is what I'm trying to unlearn a lot, is okay, I should get as many things as possible per day. I should do the task that's like most important for the day first. There were so many shoulds around productivity, right? And ultimately I came to the conclusion that like, fuck all of that, like there's no right way to do anything. And I mean, this applies to anything when it comes to there are so many like books and techniques on productivity or meditation or manifestation, all these things. I think yes, there are so many ways to do it, but it's overwhelming as fuck when you are like, what is the best way to do this? Like, what's the way I should be approaching this?
Right.
But in reality, it's whatever works for you. And everyone's different. Even if like something is considered the best way of doing things, if you can try it, and if it doesn't work for you, that's completely fine for you to like choose a not as popular method, or just to completely invent your own way of doing things, right? So now how I spend my day to day is to follow my excitement and to tune into whatever it is I want to be doing at the moment. And I think I was scared, even as someone who's like really thinking about there's no should, I think I was scared that like if I follow that, I'm just gonna want to do, I don't know, like play chess all day, or like to just like be like scrolling on social media. But when I really tune into, okay, what sounds most exciting to me right now, it's not that. It's I'm never like, ooh, scrolling on social media sounds most exciting to me right now. I'm realizing more and more that like those mindless like default activities that I find myself going to is when I put myself in the should mindset and like want to avoid doing the shoulds.
Oh,
isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. Yeah,
it's like I'm like procrastinating what I think I should be doing.
Damn.
So it's actually a lot more counterproductive.
That's actually wild. I didn't know that about you. That
I feel like I'm just realizing it as I speak. I mean, I'm a procrastinator.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm always like, like when there's like a deadline and it's tomorrow, I can like be really like locked in. But if I have like a month, then I'll procrastinate till like it's like the day before. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my example. Do you have an example?
I was waiting for you to say your example.
That was my example.
Oh, that was your example. Okay.
Yeah. Like anything that's like on top of your mind when it comes to there's no should.
Yeah. So I think in the way, I mean, not to stroke my own fucking wiener. I like to think, and I mean, you were saying this, right? You see me as like a living example. I feel like...
I'm kidding, I do.
I feel like everything that I do and everything that I have done has just been extremely unorthodox. Like, I don't know who else is like doing this kind of stuff except for my content creator friends, right? I'd say Justin is like a living example of there is no should. Like this guy just is on his complete own path. Actually like a lot, or if not all of my creative friends are all on their own path and embodying that. So if you guys didn't know, like I only did like a semester of college and like I dropped out. You know, my parents said like, oh, you should finish your education, and like, oh, I am doing my education, just not in the way that they think I should, you know.
Right, you are way smarter than a lot of people who are in college right now.
Thank you. And then even like goals in terms of career path, my goal ended up being like, oh no, like I wanted to be like an influencer, I want to be a content creator, right? And that's a bit more typical nowadays, right? But even with what we're doing when it comes to traveling, right? A lot of people would be like, all right, like let's lock in and let's I'm just gonna stay in like a shitty like place and just be here for like a year and put my head down. Like no, like I'm out here like traveling and understanding the universe, like while I'm able to be here like freely. And I try not to hold those limitations onto myself of what I think I should be living like, because every time I find those limitations, it's a really constricting feeling. And I'm sure especially as an artist, like you know that feeling of like having a label or having some sort of perspective on life that you just know isn't true,
Right.
that you'd want to break those things.
I was gonna say, it's kind of crazy how I personally have to constantly remind myself to break out of thinking within there is should framework, even as I'm going going on an unusual path, right? So even as an artist, I have to, like, I'm doing a pretty specific genre right now, or I don't know, maybe I'm like blending a lot of genres, but as I'm going down this path, and I'm into so many different genres, I just journaled about this too 2 days ago, how okay, I love these other genres like neo soul and stuff like that like I haven't really been like tapping into as much because I've been doing more pop music. But who's to say that like I can't, like I should stick to this genre and like I should not explore other genres? Like who's saying that, right? Like of course you can like have it's like hard to explain, but like I had to journal about it and like remind myself that me, let's say like writing songs in other genres, even if I'm not going to release them or anything, is not a waste of time.
Yeah.
And if I wanted to in the future, I could choose to do an entire neo soul album. Like no one's stopping that, right? So
that's like just a self-placed limitation. And like the world is always changing. Like you can follow in someone's footsteps, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that either. But in a world where everything is constantly changing, there's going to be a million different ways for you to get to the end result.
Exactly.
And whatever speaks to you the most and is most enjoyable for you, like why not?
I think this is also a great example of that. So I think Billie Eilish and Phineas talked about how it's important, they think it's important to learn the foundations of songwriting so that you can break it, you know? So I think even their like recent songs, a lot of them don't follow the traditional like verse chorus bridge chorus type of structure, but I know that they know that that's like the usual way of doing things, and they know so much, they have so much knowledge when it comes to like music theory and stuff like that. And so, but at the same time, like there's no should, so they can break out of it, and they did, and it's fucking amazing. And I feel like especially as creative people, it's we gotta remind each other that there's no one way of doing things. It's so cool to be able to look at how a lot of people do things and like maybe try it if we want to, but also know that there's no limit when it comes to how we want to achieve our goals.
Nobody knows what's best for you. And especially if you're going into a path where you are creating your own life, there isn't a game plan out there for that, and that's something that you have to figure out on your own. But I think one thing that came into my mind as we were discussing this topic today is, if there is no right way to do something, then that also technically means that everything is the right way to do something.
Yes.
Which I think is such a fun concept. And you're probably thinking to yourself, like, dude, that's like the same fucking thing, bro. But I don't know. To me, in my eyes, like, that mental framework of like there's no right way to do something almost exposes you to the unlimited potential of unlimited possibilities at first. But when I'm able to tell myself like everything is correct, it gives me the freedom to know that whatever I do choose, like, it's okay, like it is correct.
Yes.
And it gives me the confidence to dive into it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another thing that I kind of want to talk about is like the external shoulds and the internal shoulds.
Right. So if you're watching this and you're still under the age of 18, you're under your parents' roof, like, I do want to reach out and say, like, we understand if it does feel like there is like a lot of pressure. Like, maybe you're like, oh, there is no should, like, I could just like move out then, but I don't know, my parents are gonna beat the crap out of me or something. And what else did you have to say about that?
Well, I think that when it comes to external stuff, parents, families, expectations of like, you should go to college, or like you should, even after you're not under their roof anymore, like, oh, you should marry as soon as you get out of school, or like you should have a baby. Like, there are so many shoulds that older generations put on their younger generations, like kids and stuff like that, and that sucks. Like, we don't want to like sugarcoat it. It sucks when people who are even like your friends and like who you surround yourself with, when they have that mindset, but you know that that's not what you're meant to do. It sucks. And what can we say to people who are going through stuff like that?
Who are going through external shoulds, like external pressures?
Yeah, because I know that a lot of people deal with like, oh, my parents don't. I think someone DM'd me this, like, my parents don't want me to pursue music, but I know that that's what I want to do, and just stuff like that. Shoulds that society and parents and external people put on you.
I feel like when it does come to the topic of parents, that's a little bit harder, in the sense of, if they are taking care of you, like if they're paying for all your shit, like it's kind of harder to break those shoulds, because you're still under their care, like you're still developing, right? So for the time being, like, you might, I don't know, like that might be crazy to say. Well, I don't know, maybe it isn't crazy. There is no should. If your parents are still taking care of you, like, they're still taking care of you. You're still under the roof. But if you're a fully fledged adult, like if you're moved out and you're in your own house and no one's paying for your stuff, like.
Well, I was gonna say, don't turn that into resentment towards your parents, first of all, because a lot of the times they are operating from like what they know, what they think is best for you, even if it's not always the best thing for you, or like the world is changing, so like they just don't know what's possible these days. Just know that most of the time, like, it is coming from love. At the same time, like Richie said, I think if you are at a point where you are able to like pursue your passion on the side even without telling them that it's like your main thing, or like if you're able to afford certain thing or like have moved out, then honestly at that point, if you don't follow your heart and do what you want to do, that's gonna haunt you for the rest of your life.
It will. That shit will eat at you.
Yeah, so even if it comes at the expense of like it not being the best for your relationship with your parents, like eventually they'll understand. And also there are so many cases where you follow your passion and it works out, and then parents are going to be like, oh, okay, I see you now. You know what I mean? So that's that.
Yeah. I think we were also discussing earlier about like, are those quote unquote like shoulds coming from like a fear state? And I thought that was a very interesting like question, because I think if there's one thing I can agree on at least is that shoulds do become limiting. That's for sure. But do they all come from a fear state? I think the only time that those shoulds are very dangerous are, again, like if those shoulds are not yours. Or what are you looking at me like that?
If those shoulds are not yours?
Yeah, if those shoulds come from external places and they aren't the shoulds that you've chosen.
Oh, okay. Well, if you choose to do something, then we're defining that as like they're not shoulds. You know what I'm saying?
Say it again.
If you are choosing to go to the gym, then that is different from you putting the pressure on yourself that like, oh, I should go to the gym. So at that point, it's not a should.
Even then at that point, like, I mean, yes, you would want to turn it into like I choose to go to the gym, or like I choose to be this person. But like if you do choose your own set of beliefs, your own set of values, and they aren't anybody else's, like yes, there is no should, and in turn you can then choose whatever shoulds exist in your life. So even then, like I should go to the gym, like because that's who I choose to be, is still way less fear-based than, and I would say acceptable and healthy than I should go to the gym just because someone fucking said so.
Yeah. Semantics.
Yeah, all that. You were also bringing up earlier, like with external shoulds, that there are those internal shoulds that we battle with and deal with. What did you mean by that?
That's why I looked at you like that, because I feel like the internal shoulds are sometimes like more painful, at least from a personal experience, than the external shoulds. I guess it all depends on like who you are as a person and like your circumstances, but I think at least for me, I'm lucky in that like there's no one like within my family or friends who are very like, oh, you should be doing this, or you should follow this path.
Yo, if people are like that in my life, dude, like I just like don't listen. I just don't listen. I just tune them out. I just go, yeah.
Right. Like even my parents, like they want the best for me, but like they know that I am just gonna do whatever I want to do. So, and like they trust that I'm at least like not dumb enough to like get into some crazy shit. So, and my friends are very supportive in like everything I pursue. So I don't really have the external shoulds as much. But I have a lot of internal shoulds that I am, even to this day, constantly trying to overcome and reframe.
Do you mind if I ask like what internal shoulds come to the top of your mind?
I mean, one of the biggest things is just like feeling like, oh, I should be at this point, I should be somewhere better in my career path as an artist, or I should have more money at this point in my life, or just things like that.
It seems like to me too, right? Like when you do think of shoulds, it kind of points me back towards that quote of just comparison is the thief of joy. Because if you think about it, a should, like, where does that should come from?
Right.
Take a shot every time we say should. Should. Where does that should?
We need a shot thingy
right.
here.
You know, where do those shoulds come from? And they come from again, like other people. And so when you find yourself comparing yourself like that to somebody else's life path, I mean, yeah, that's when you're getting dicked down by life. Like,
yeah. And
straight
you that's I know that, and I try to remind myself of that a lot, because even as an artist, right, like I started way late. I've only been like seriously pursuing music for like 5 years or something, right? So it's actually not too long of a time compared to people. A lot of people say like, oh, like an overnight success happens after like 10 years of the artist going after it, right?
Yeah.
So even if someone's like way younger, and let's say someone like Billie Eilish like made it when she was like 19 or something like that, she's been doing this shit for like way longer than me, right? So I know that. I just think that it's really easy to fall into that trap. So it's something that I try to watch out for. And also when we were talking about this, everything is related to each other. And I think that when I think about the I should mindset, it makes you operate from like a lack mindset.
When you operate from should? Tell me more about that. Like operating
at least
from lack.
At least from the examples I just gave you, like, I should have more money. I should be more successful at this point.
Oh, because you know what? It
means you don't have it right now.
Not only does it mean that you not have it right now, it makes you fail to see what you do have. And then therefore puts you in a state of lack.
Yes.
Because it's like you're focusing on the shit that you don't have, or places that you aren't, or things that you aren't, and you completely forget everything that you already are.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when I was journaling and really thinking about a lot of these things, one of the things that helped me that I did was first examining my shoulds, right? And then I continue to ask myself the question of why, right? If I'm saying like, oh, I should be at this point in my career, and then I would ask like, why? Because blah blah blah. Why? And so keep drilling down
that why.
Till you get to the bottom of it, and oftentimes you'll understand that like the very like lowest level of why is actually something so like
so stupid. It's
stupid.
Like, oh, what the fuck?
And then kind of like what you said about like the lack mindset, or like ignoring how far I've come so far. After drilling down with the whys, I wrote down a lot of the things that I have accomplished as an artist so far, which is if like 5 years ago I told myself that like, oh, I would have like these many songs that have like 100k plus streams, or like fans who actually like really fuck with my music, who don't know me, like all of these things would be amazing. Like so it's really about like reframing a lot of these things and going back to gratitude, and also like knowing that you always have the choice to shift your thoughts, and to shift your thoughts to thoughts that are more empowering.
Shift your thoughts, and more importantly, like let go of whatever thoughts and stories and beliefs you're holding on to. Because I feel like when I learned there is no should, that was one of the first key concepts that I learned in terms of my spiritual growth. And I know like I got into spirituality at a younger age, because I mean I had the freedom to at least think about those kinds of things. And that just makes me wonder like how many people are living within their set of programs that they don't even know aren't their own. And how many people are just like living by that. And I know the amount of stress that puts on you, that you think you need to be something else, you need to be somewhere else, like is such a hard battle that you sometimes don't even know that you're facing. Because it's so deeply rooted. Like when we're talking about like there is no should too, something that I think is kind of interesting is a lot of the times people don't even know what their shoulds are.
Yeah.
Because it's so deeply ingrained.
Or they just think of it as like of course, like
yeah, they're just like, oh, that's just the way the world is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, damn, like you don't even know. And so that's kind of scary how that affects the world, because then that becomes, you know, programming, and that eventually forms our societies with ideas that are old and outdated, and they need to be fucking thrown out, dude. Sorry, I'm like so gassy. What was it? Are you laughing at my burp? Wait, what did I do?
You were just like
Anyways, I think if we can start actively removing these shoulds as a society, the first thing that I think I would love to see of more people, that I know a lot of people are trapped in, especially a lot of people in my hometown, at least, you know, when it came to what their idea of what was possible is like, I'd love to see people living more of an authentic life. I think when you're trapped within the confines of your shoulds, you can only be so authentic. And authenticity is so absolutely freeing.
Yeah.
I don't know what else I would be doing on this earth, like if I couldn't authentically express myself and my ideas.
Yes. No, I'm not like zoning out. I'm like half zoning out, but because I'm zoning into like how this leads, how everything connects.
Oh, here's how everything connects. There is no should, guys.
Okay. What's funny?
Okay, go on.
I need more coffee.
Me too.
I was thinking about how let me bring it back.
Should we get more coffee?
Do we choose to get more coffee?
Maybe. Actually,
there's no should.
I choose
baby.
not to.
Okay. I might choose to.
Okay. Yeah, so how can you bring it all back? Because I'm gonna be real, like I actually don't know how to bring this all back. I think it's pretty straightforward. like
no, not bring it all back, but I was just thinking about like well, I was thinking about The Handmaid's Tale, and we've been watching The Handmaid's Tale since Trump got elected, and I was like, I should be prepared.
You know what? I'm actually curious. How does this relate to The Handmaid's Tale? Tell me about that.
Well, Gilead, the society within The Handmaid's Tale, is just so full of shoulds.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
I just think it's so funny that your mind turned to Handmaid's Tale.
Well, it's always on top of my mind these days.
Right.
But when you live in a society that's so full of shoulds, that sucks. It just sucks, and like, I mean,
because what happens is like all of the authenticity gets repressed into resentment.
Exactly.
It gets repressed into resentment, and you become angry.
And even if from the outside, like on the surface, everyone's following rules and like acting a certain way, every character does some fucked up shit like from behind the doors, because like shit's so repressed, and that repressed side of you needs to be expressed somehow, you know?
Someone's been reading Radical Acceptance.
I want to have a whole episode about radical acceptance after I finish the book.
really would love to have another episode on like surrender and acceptance.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I was going to suggest it to you today, but I just want to like finish the book and then talk about it.
Then we'll get to that. But until then, this is a very important concept. And so with that, I would like to leave the audience with a question, or at least oh my God, you know what we didn't do? We didn't do emails.
Well, the last episode isn't even out.
Oh, yeah.
So they couldn't have sent us emails anyway.
Yeah, they couldn't have even sent us emails.
But for the next few episodes,
maybe emails. We'll see. So
emails. We wanna communicate with you.
I would love that.
We would love to hear your thoughts on if you understand what we're talking about, or if you're like, it doesn't always apply because you should blah blah blah.
You should.
We're always so down to be challenged. We challenge each other all the time, and that's how we grow. So if you're like, y'all are full of shit, well, don't say that, because that's not constructive criticism. If you're like, what about these moments or whatever, please tell us.
So actually, one thing before I reflect this back into the audience, like for example, if someone were to be like, does that mean I should kill?
Okay, I'm not laughing.
Oh, actually, no. That I actually already debunked that with what do you want to communicate? You want to communicate to your community that you're a killer? No. So fuck you. If you were trying to, anyways, I'd like to leave you guys with a moment of reflection about all of your choices and everything that you are making. Are they authentic, or are your choices being made because you're living up to somebody else's standards of what you think life should be?
Sheesh. And also,
thanks
we would.
For that.
It's like you wrote it down and memorized that shit. I know you didn't, but that was great.
Thank you.
What was I gonna say? I wanted to have a bar after yours.
Oh, okay. Here you go.
Are you? Yeah. Are you living like your authentic self? It's 555, yeah. Yeah. Are you following your highest excitement? Or not? Okay, wait, I know what I was gonna say.
Yeah, what were you gonna say?
Let go of your belief that if you don't follow your shoulds and instead tune in and follow your highest excitement, then your life would go to shit, or that your life will not be as fulfilling, or like that you cannot reach your goals more quickly and stuff like that. Because I used to subconsciously believe that, and I'm letting go of that, because I know for a fact that if we were to let go of that and follow our excitement, then that's actually how you manifest way more quickly. Mic drop. Oh.
You guys see how weird and breaking of societal norms she is? And
you guys see how weird?
And anybody who is her friend who watches and is like, why is she so weird? And
all my friends know.
Oh, yes. An amazing example of there is no should. Because who just breaks into song and then mic drops at their own bar like that, right? Like, there is no should. You know what? I just did the wave if you didn't see, if you're an audio listener. You know what? Sideways hat. There is no should. Like, why do I have to, like, wear it at, like, front?
You're weird.
Oh, at the 2 o'clock. Yeah, I think that's it for this episode. We're getting into just like like just weird territory.
Yeah.
see you guys in the next one. Hit it.
Keep going.
Oh.
Yeah, next stop, New Earth. You are my destination. I never rhyme, cause there's no should. And when I freestyle, I'm not a rapper, so I choose not to rhyme. And it's empowering to not rhyme.
Not rhyme. Okay, bye guys.
Bye.